Hello, welcome back or welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be making a video about why you're not getting that one desire that you want so much. Like, we all have that one thing, the most prominent thing in our lives that we want. There is a reason, and I mean, it's not just one. I'm going to give you a few, but there's a process to understanding it and programming your subconscious to be able to create it more efficiently, faster. I'm sure that's what we want, right? For it to come faster and for it to come as fully as what we desire. When we aren't receiving a manifestation, it's because there's a subconscious belief that's blocking it from coming. What we need to do in order to manifest efficiently and well is believe it is possible and believe it is your reality, regardless of any evidence that comes to you that shows that might not be true. And it sounds kind of delusional right now, but I'll explain it as we go along. Just remember this one line. Your desire is a prediction of the future. First of all, you need to be completely sure about what you want, down to the nitty-gritty details. Just write it all down. Writing down is much more concrete. Just spend like 5, 10, 15 minutes putting it down. Then after that, just let go. Think about it in a more general sense. This is what Abraham-Hicks tells us to do too, but I'm starting off with this small advice and it'll tie into everything else I advise. It's not about negating the evidence that doesn't support reality. It's about accepting evidence that does confirm it. You'll understand more as we go on. So our brain is actually built on pattern recognition and metaphors in order to understand and perceive our reality well. So that's its job. Its job is to recognize patterns in the world and categorize things so that we are able to process them and act accordingly. Once it does this, once it finds these patterns and analyzes its surroundings, it stores it in its subconscious, and then we can't access these pattern recognition programs once we are in our conscious mind state. These become part of our subconscious mind state. You have to basically see what goes on in that mind frame. And when we dream, we enter subconscious territory, and then even less conscious, which is like God self territory. So how can we change our subconscious beliefs, our subconscious programs, if we can't even access them, right? So here's how you do it. You need to write down your dreams. So as we're going into sleep and coming out of sleep, that's usually when we dream. And the ones you remember the most are the ones when we're waking up, because obviously our brain is able to consciously capture the dreams that we're holding on to. It's just a trailing memory as we're entering our conscious state. So those are the most important ones, because those are the messages that God or self or higher self, whatever you call it, is sending you when you return back into the physical reality. We're writing down dreams because dreams show what our brain is perceiving our reality like. So how someone is treating us in our perception, or how an event or a challenge is in our perception, those are all stored in our subconscious. And recording our dreams allows us to understand what it is that is stored there. But since we dream in metaphors and patterns, dreams don't actually make sense by themselves. Like, they're not real storylines and part of our real experiences. They're not to be taken literally. As I said earlier, they're more of the realm of the subconscious, more of like abstract reality. And I make videos on what abstract reality actually is. I call it the abstract spectrum. I'll link one here for you. In dreams, you can start seeing those metaphors that are actually going to help you understand why your specific belief isn't aligning with the desire that you want happening in your reality. So, how to actually start recording your dreams? If you don't really record your dreams that much, it's hard to capture them all at once. There's like long stories, sometimes they're not even connected. Sometimes they're short and interspersed with like random events and that just don't even make sense. So what I recommend is just waking up, writing down as much as you can remember. Like any small details, the surroundings, what you were feeling, especially what you were feeling. That's one of the most important things. Characters, colors, forms, all those types of things, like abstract things. Write them down. And over time, over a matter of a few days to maybe like a week or two, If you're consistent with it, you'll be able to remember more and more and more and more of your dream. And that's great because that's when you start recognizing what actually happens in your subconscious. So once you've started writing down your dreams, now it's time to analyze what patterns you actually see in it, what types of metaphors you see. If it's not initially clear, don't jump on assumptions, don't try to create meanings out of it. The meaning will definitely be clear. Sometimes there's like an overlap of multiple meanings, and that's all right too. But if you don't see any meanings, then don't worry and don't rush it. Just wait until some type of meaning. Sometimes, like if I write down a dream, I don't really understand what it means until later on in the day, or like even the next day or the day after that. And it starts making sense because I'm like, oh yeah, I saw this pattern and now I see that it kind of correlates to my real life happenings. So that's when the meaning starts becoming clear. Another part of that is also asking the universe to show you the meaning clearly, because if it's not clear, then the meaning might show up again in another dream in a clearer way, like in the same type of metaphor or, abstract presentation. The second time around, or if it's not clear then, the third time around will be much clearer if you've focused on understanding it clearly or receiving it clearly from the universe. But you do have to be patient with these metaphorical messages. So how would you actually interpret the meaning of a dream? Okay, I'll give you an example. So if you have dreamt that a giant college application is chasing you and you can't run away, every time at the end of the dream you fall and it like tears you apart like a paper, right? That's something absurd, like that's not real, that wouldn't happen. So this could mean that you're afraid of going back to school, or you're afraid of failure related to not getting into the school, something like that. These are all fears, right? The feeling you had, remember I mentioned earlier, the feeling is very important in a dream. So make sure you write that down if nothing else, although it helps if you do write other things down. Whatever you're feeling about a subject is what your subconscious belief is about that subject. So if I'm being chased by a giant college application, then that means I'm scared of something related to college applications or something related to education, or if you try to go even broader, like something about my role in society or my worth when it comes to contributing with my intelligence, right? You can go broad, you can go specific. Usually metaphors are somewhere in the middle. They're not too broad, they're not too specific. What should we do with this feeling now that we've understood and analyzed our dreams and our subconscious, perception about happenings, people, or challenges or desires in our reality, right? So what we need to change is our feeling about that specific subject, because if we're afraid of a failure or afraid of some occurrence, there's so many different fears. Fear of dying from not being able to pay your college tuition, right, in full, and have money to survive. The brain is an organ built for physical reality, and that's why it processes physical happenings into a more abstract form, which is, pattern recognition, metaphors, feelings. But feelings can also go deeper, which are like broader manifestations of love or fear. Love and fear are the duality, right? And then all the way down when we go to the most empty states of sleep, when we're breathing the most deep and almost like near death. Our body is just being kept alive while our consciousness is like far away from it. We go to 1 and then we come back up to 2 and 3 and 10 and 1,000, then infinity, which is like everything, every small little thing, everything separated. And that's what the brain is made to recognize and categorize. So we go back and forth when we're sleeping, and that's where we can recognize, as soon as we're coming up from that state, that the subconscious belief that we have is our perception and our belief about something, and that is why our desire is not coming true. So this feeling is what we recognize as our subconscious belief about something. Okay, so now that we've found a pattern, a subconscious belief pattern about your desire, what do we do with that? It's time to reprogram it. And like I said, the first thing that you must absolutely do, it's very crucial, is be 100% certain about what it is that you want and be detailed about it. But only be detailed about it the first time around when you're manifesting it. You're solidifying what you know your future is to be. Your desire is a prediction of the future. Then, once you're absolutely certain, think about it in a more broader perspective. And then when you come across an evidence in your reality that shows you your reality, your desired reality is not possible, you have to reject it, but not in a rejection way. Listen to this carefully. You have to move toward your desire. That's just how manifestation works. If you say no to it, to non-physical reality, it sounds like yes as well. Both no and yes are yes. It's confusing if you've heard it the first time, but this is what Abraham-Hicks always talks about. So going back to the college application example, right? If you have a small belief, once you failed at a little task, right? If you feel like you're not intelligent, that's a belief that you need to reroute from. You need to say, no, everybody has failures and I'm intelligent. Intelligence is actually overcoming failure. So you can reroute that belief into going towards it instead of going away from the negative belief that you've had. And same thing for outside evidence. So if somebody says to you, oh, are you sure you can afford going back to school? Are you sure it's a good idea in this economy? Those are similar financial things. You gotta say, yeah, why not? I can totally do it. I have no doubts about it. Do you hear how that's actually moving towards it? That's something you gotta work on too. But you'll get the hang of it. Don't go too hard with it, because occasionally I would go too hard with it too, because I was like, oh my god, if I say no or a negative word in any way, that means it's not gonna happen because I'm saying I don't want it to happen. Don't worry. Occasionally, like, small no's is okay. Don't be too hard. Because when you're afraid of it not happening, it also doesn't happen. After this, after you're rerouting yourself, once you're awake, another thing you can also do, well, you don't have to do it after, you can do it alongside it, is this Neville Goddard technique of visualizing your desired reality as you're falling asleep. So you're carrying that reality with you as you're going down into oneness. And then it's something that oneness will understand, this is exactly what this person wants. It will start creating it. And then once you come back out, your dreams will indicate to you where in the process you are, whether what you want is the correct thing, whether like source believes that you deserve it, not that you don't deserve good things, but like if it's the best thing for your life, right? Because sometimes we desire things that are not necessarily the best thing for our life journeys. So you'll start receiving messages from dreams related to your manifestation and how you need to steer yourself. Because of that, it's good to continue writing down your dreams whenever you feel like you've received a message. And then lastly, it's always good, always beneficial for your manifestations to practice gratitude, because when we're grateful about our lives and all the blessings that are already in it, we start desiring our wants and our desired reality less, because the more you are grateful for, the less you'll feel the need for that specific desire that you want so badly, and then the less desperate you are. And when we're not desperate, because desperation indicates a level of lack. Desperation is a feeling of lack, and that's why we want something so bad. That is a belief that you cannot have it, and that's why you want it. So the less desperate you are, the faster it'll come, and the more efficiently it'll come, and that's the whole goal of this, right? And another one of my sayings is the best way to wait for something is to forget about it. Forget that you even want it. Like, you've already told the universe that you want it. What's the point in continuing thinking about it? That's the other reason that you can't keep thinking about the little details. Once you solidify the details of what you want, you just gotta know that, yeah, you want this broader thing, but I've already handled the details. Like, universe, God knows what I want already. So, it's out of my hands. You take care of it. It's not mine anymore. Even that, like, we always have the power to work towards what we want, of course. Both subconsciously and consciously, we do know what we need to do to get to the desire becoming our reality. It's not about not taking actions. It's about how can you focus your mental energy in the proper way, that even when you're doing your actions, you know that this is what you actually need to be doing. Because 50-50, sometimes we don't even need to be doing anything for our desire to become true. Like, if we actually want to get promoted, right, we might be believing that in order to do that, you have to work more or sacrifice more of your regular life, sacrifice your family time, like your fresh food cooking time. The outer reality tells us that we need to work harder for like a career promotion. Something that we can reprogram our subconscious mind to do is to believe that no, I can get promoted while also having a very, very good work-life balance. Last example I can give, which is actually a real example. One of my coworker friends, he was having a hard time falling asleep at night. He had insomnia for multiple months, and I got to the bottom of it. I was like, okay, can you tell me like why you feel like it doesn't happen to you? And he said because he felt as though his body was more powerful than his soul, and that his physical form kept his soul awake, like forcefully in this physical world. It wasn't able to find peace and go into non-physical at night. And I said, wait, why are you saying that? Because that's not really true. Not everybody believes that. You know, beliefs are usually subjective, and I would argue like 99% of this world is subjective. It's according to what you believe, because your beliefs create your reality. He was like, wait, yeah, you're right. Why do I believe my body is more powerful than my soul? That small belief is keeping 51% of his body powerful over 49% of his soul. So if he just believes that, no, my soul is more powerful than my body, because technically it was, if you really think about it, his soul was the one that was giving him the belief that he can't sleep. If you just realize that the soul is more powerful than your body, that's another big way that you can make your manifestations come true, because the soul is from which our desires actually come from. So if our desire, our subconscious desire, is to not fall asleep, then that is from the soul too. And the soul is kind of brainwashing you into thinking that you don't want to sleep. If you go and activate your subconscious mind and say, I do want to sleep, I can sleep, everything in my reality cannot tell me otherwise, because I have the power to sleep whenever I want. That can cure your insomnia. And guess what? The next day he texted me and he said, Gayatri, I had the best sleep after so long. And I was like, wow, these things are not a joke. Like, this is real. This is how you really, really make what it is that you want come true. Hopefully everything comes together and makes sense, because this is powerful stuff, and our dreams have a big potential to help us reprogram ourselves. Okay, bye guys. Thank you for listening the whole way. Look forward to my new videos. I'm gonna start making like some lookbooks just for fun, and ASMR videos, because, you know, why not? Life is short. Okay, bye.